They're very skinny this year, the carobs. That's like way skinnier than usual. Some of these are like last year's, like this one is super moldy and fatter, so just only pick this year's.
Put them in water, boil them for like 10 minutes.
Wait, do you take the seeds out at any point?
No, everything.
Okay.
You leave them soaking, then you grab all the liquid, and you strain all the solids, and then you boil for like 2 hours, what you get.
Okay.
And that's the syrup kind of like raises.
All right.
That's it.
So you like get the syrup off the top.
Yep. Just give me the.
Oh, we'll do it on the wood stove then. Should be easy.
I guess, but yeah, we'll do
So gas. So I thought you were gonna have to like soak them for like 5 days.
It's things that you need to experiment. I think like in certain processes, people soak them for longer, but don't pre-boil them.
We're almost full. Alright, what do you think's in here then?
Something to hammer.
Something to hammer, indeed. You ready?
Oh, you're gonna hammer them in here?
Yeah, that was the plan.
Right? Ah, it's the carobs. I thought it was almonds.
Ah, right. No. It's the carobs. There's your hammer. Yay! Oh.
Too heavy.
Oh.
Too heavy.
Oh,
Too heavy.
Good try. You try the little one.
Are we doing anything?
I don't know.
I think we are.
Having fun, aren't we? Doing anything. Oh yeah, some are broken. Maybe we need the big mallet. Work that well. So. What's this one doing? He's put that in there. Oh. So what we did was we broke up the carob into little pieces and we boiled it on the stove for about, well, it was supposed to be about 10 minutes, it was actually a bit longer in the end. And now what I want is the liquid, so I'm going to strain it off. I'm sure the donkeys will enjoy the carob, which is sort of the waste product in this process. So I just want the liquid in here, and then we can reduce it down to collect the syrup. So let's see if I can do it this way. And this is what we're left with, just little chunks of very soft carob. It's our first frosty morning. We're going to get a fire on and we're going to boil down the carob liquid and hopefully get the syrup off the top. Mau, come and look at this. You're going to be so excited. It's done it. Look, it's getting there. Wow.
It seems to be a bit sticky.
Yeah. But it's like, whoa, look at that. That's so cool. Unfortunately, our excitement soon turned to disappointment this time, as it turned out we overdid it a little bit with the reducing stage, and instead of a delicious syrup, we had instead created a new kind of rock. Maybe we could have chiseled it out and heated it up again to cook with, but it didn't really seem worth it, so I ended up throwing the whole jar away. But not to be defeated, we tried again. Morning! Still got lots of work to do in the donkey field, so I'm going to do some of that this morning. So the first thing I need to do is fix the entrance to the field, because this is just how we made it when we were just making it the first time basically. And then we put a second line on this section here, because one time Trini got out. She could see a bag of food here, which we've now moved, so I think that was the main thing, but we put a second line just to be sure. And I also want to put a second line all the way around just to be safe. I don't think it's necessary, but I've got the extra cabling, so I might as well. I also realised, and I feel like a massive idiot for this, but with the electric fencing, it doesn't need to be a closed circuit to work. You can actually just have like forks going off in different directions, and it doesn't have to close if you want to combine it with like other types of fencing or walls or whatever. I just didn't occur to me that that might be the case, so that actually makes life here a lot easier, because if you remember, this field has loads of really big stone walls which are really steep, and if I can combine the fencing with those walls, it means we can really easily just open up loads more space in here without me having to go around the whole edge and fence it all so that it all joins up. So I'm going to try and start on that job today as well, but first of all, let's fix this door. Why is this going in? I've just done this hole in the wrong place, haven't I? Now I'm just thinking, and where's my little hook gone? Learning that I didn't need to close the electric fencing was such a revelation, and totally changed the way I could approach fencing our new land. It's a really big area to fence, and one day I would like to get a double line of fencing all the way around so that we're just as secure as possible, but in the meantime now I can totally open up this space right now. By combining the electric fencing with existing stone walls and natural sheer rock structures, I was able to basically give the donkeys about 8 times as much space as they'd had before, without having to hammer posts in around the entire perimeter, which would have taken me a really long time and cost a fair bit in materials. By the way, look how they've cleared this area for me. Now all I have to do is come and chop up all the wood that they've stripped the bark off. They found all the carobs that were on the floor over there, and yeah, I basically had very little work to do to come and clear this area up. Thank you very much. Look how they've eaten all the bark off this tree. They say donkeys aren't as like ravenous as goats and are more like discerning in what they eat, but I mean, even when we had goats, they didn't do this much damage. As soon as I removed the final line of fencing so the donkeys could enter the rest of the terrace, they were so happy. It was like they couldn't believe their luck. They spent ages running back and forth, exploring every corner and figuring out all the tasty new things available for them to eat. Look at their happy little wagging tails. I'm having second thoughts about this hay storage now. Now I've put the pallet down in it and put a few things away in here. I just think it needs to be bigger. You can barely fit 2 pallets in here, and you can't stack the hay and the straw that high because it's too heavy. You just can't lift it that high, so it's just not as much space as I wanted. I sort of imagined almost having like a room that you could walk into and have like a row along one side and along the back in like an L shape of hay and straw stacked sort of like that. I don't know if you can imagine, but I had something in my head and it hasn't translated into what we've built. All because we didn't want to move or cut down, move, you can't move it, but cut down that carob tree there, that little carob. But I think actually maybe we will do that after all. I've been bringing them some of the olive prunings. Most of the time they act like they're not really that interested, but today they're quite into it. They much prefer carob, but they will eat olive if it's there. Oh, you got it stuck in your... There you go. Yeah, if it's there, they'll eat it. They strip the bark off it as well. They leave it looking like this, or like this. Not sure if that's carob or olive, but yep, that's basically what they do to it. Alright chickens, it's your lucky morning. Chickies. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of work in the garden still. I went to a local market which I'd never been to before, and I found an amazing supplier of veggie starts. He had so much stuff and I ended up getting way more than I'd planned for. But luckily everything in the garden is going really well, and Santi is usually game for about half an hour or so of work before he gets fed up, so I've been able to keep more or less on top of things so far. Egg-shaped oranges. This is one of the stumps that came out of the area that we had the digger clear the other week, where we're going to put like a little metal storage shed, and I'm thinking it could be a good stump for the chickens, like a perch if we bury it a bit in the chicken food forest. So taking it down there. Feels like all I've been doing lately is just dealing with wood and branches, just never ending. So we're still working on the weaving in this little dead hedge that we're building around the chicken and duck pond. It's really fun work, but it's just taking quite a long time. Bless you. What do you think of your Christmas present, Una? Do you like it? Ready? Come on, bring it here. Here. Bring it here. Bring it here. Brought you the best steaks. These are going to be the best ones you've ever seen. There was a tree with loads of, what do you call them, suckers. So loads of really long straight ones.
Sister's pottery made for me, building a home like I've never known. Been a long time coming since your way to
we did it! We finished it! I can't believe it! Took about 2 weeks, but here it is. So this here is the entrance. In retrospect, I maybe would have left it a little bit wider, than it is, but it's enough for a duck to walk through. I just hope they can find it and it doesn't get too like overgrown. Yeah, it's actually a lot of fencing. It's like the actual circumference, the inner and the outer ring is it's quite a lot, so I'm quite impressed with what we've managed to do. This was me and my mum, by the way. Finished project Una. Well, not quite. Still got a plant in it, but good enough. First bed gone. In the interest of having a smaller and more maintainable garden going forward, I decided to remove 4 of the beds. Even before Santi, when I had all the time in the world, these beds were a bit too much and I had regretted building them in the first place, and I didn't even like the way they looked with the brick borders. So it was time for them to go. Finally, all the bricks were gone, and if you're wondering about the very badly tied headscarf, I was planning to do some strimming in a minute, so I had just thrown this on to protect my hair. I would love to build a wall around the garden one day, just a short one, about a metre high or so, maybe not around the whole thing, but we've got the stone wall on one side, but at least around 2 or 3 sides of it, just to keep dogs and things out and just to give it a nice look. It's a pipe dream for sure, but I'm just keeping the bricks here in the hope that it might motivate me to start that project sooner rather than later. I saved a couple of self-seeded veggies from one of the beds, and then I could finally trim this very overgrown area where all the bricks had been. Wow, that makes a massive difference, and that is a lot of food for donkeys. It's funny how you look at an overgrown space and it looks like a tiny little corner, and then you start strimming it and it's actually a lot bigger than you think. Just need to finish the tank, collect some up for the donkeys, and then we're done. You found a sunny spot, Duffy. Oh, you're so warm. So with these 4 beds gone, I can properly see the end of our bordered beds over there which have the tiles around them. They were quite overgrown before. We can finally get to this olive tree and give it a good prune. It was again quite inaccessible before. It's a shame about this thing. It was a nice idea, but it was for beans or peas to grow up, but this plastic stuff that I used just sagged, and yeah, just not great. Quite a bit of space now, I would say, for some new trees. I can probably fit 3 or 4 in here if I want to. And the next job will be just to clear up the side along this stone wall here. This is the donkey field over there. There's Moses, so we're right up against the new land here. It's a little bit overgrown, which I don't really mind, but I think it could do with a little bit of a tidy up. There's a quince tree in there, which we could tidy up and compost and give it a bit of attention. And then there's a lot of mint and chives growing in here, so I don't mind those at all, but everything else could probably have a little bit of a tidy up. know.
You just trim all of it.
Yeah, I trimmed all back there, all over there. I removed about 200 bricks.
Yeah, there
from
were a
over
lot of
there.
bricks.
Sorry?
There were a lot of bricks.
Yeah. I trimmed everything.
Amazing.
Well, not everything. I trimmed a lot. What have you done with Santi?
With your mum.
Oh, it's hard work. I've got a little bit of fuel left to use in the trimmer,
Yeah.
so I need to do that.
I was about to remind you to do that.
I'm not the one.
I'm gonna... Oh wow, that is another brick.
Which one are you going for?
It's the second most liquid. I think it's kind of the handy consistency for something like yogurt or something like that. I think it could be a bit more viscous, more like honey. But this is nice.
But the next one along is a bit too gloopy.
Yeah.
This is starting to get gloopy on spoon. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want that on your cereal, would you? Because it would just be a big
Well,
blob on top.
It wouldn't mix. Like, look, it's not.
Yeah, that's for cooking with or something, probably.
Yeah, it's too solid.
So, surprisingly, there was this one which still looked very liquidy, which was the winner. More experimentation required.
For sure.